You know, Chris, mine is the same. It's the same. And when I reflect back, it's when I look back on historically, it's been the same for us as a black family. When Kennedy was in office, it's the same. When Lyndon B. Johnson was in office, was the same. When Nixon was in office, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, it's the same. It's not on them, it's on us. Now, there are certain resources that we do need funneled down to our community. And it's on us to, on a local level, to make that happen. But I'm not counting on Donald Trump to close the wealth gap. Actually, we as a group of people have closed the wealth gap several times in this country. And every time we have closed it, either some type of physical annihilation has taken place, such as Black Wall Street. And there were a few. Black Wall Street is just well known, but there were a few. And then if it wasn't that, it was some form of legislation that was passed. So the wealth gap it's on us. If we're the number one consumer in the world, 1.1 to 1.3 billion or trillion dollars, it's on us to build business in our community. That's on us.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because I'm all about entrepreneurship, all about building business, doing for ourselves. I really don't want all these, this expectation of a handout. We really have to break that philosophy. Yeah, like you said, we do need some resources to make things happen. But when we get into the point where we're like, oh, well, they got to give us this, and please, some massive boss, give me a job and all that. I don't like that. Like with the Nick Cannon situation, with him, basically breaking ties with the mainstream corporate America and, doing his own thing now. I mean, what took so long? That's the question I've been asking. What took so long when these people have money, resources, and they can do things? I mean, if we're even doing this stream now, it's live all over the world. People watching, people saying what they say, agreeing or disagreeing. Why can't they do it? If this little little guy here in my little studio can pull all this together, why can't they get their own platforms, put their own TV shows out, put their own radio shows out, or whatever they need to do to reach the people and teach the people and help uplift us? Why can't they do that?
Well, I think one of what you're finding is one of the biggest schemes that this society has done, and we take a note from the Native Americans, and they've done the same thing with us. When you break it down, what they did with the Native Americans is they took children out, sometimes by the hundreds. They would take them from the Native American reservations, take them, teach them the English language, teach them their system, teach them how to basically be white. It is what it is. And then they would take them back into those reservations. And these were the people that they would put up. These children who are now grown, these are the ones which now they have a Eurocentric mindset. These are the ones that they would put up for the rest of the indigenous people. This is what you aspire to be. And if you're not going to be like these children here, well, then you're going to get pushed to the wayside. And so if you kind of look at it in that aspect, and that's a real story, by the way. So when you look at it in our community, the same thing has happened. It was called integration. So what integration allowed is for certain people to move forward mobily. They were able to, the upward mobility. But what it also did is it took out of the community our doctors, our lawyers, our scientists, all the people who we valued, our dentists, people that brought so much to the community. What this gave them the opportunity to do is move out. And many of them did. And so when we talk about brothers and sisters right now who could potentially have a platform, could potentially do what we're doing when we have no money to do what we're doing, we're doing it. But they have been pulled. And so you get a few like a Jesse Williams, you get a few like a Colin Kaepernick, you get a few like a Nick Cannon who it starts to hit them. Like, wait, hold up. Because we're all coming out of a sleepful state. Mm-hmm. We're slowly coming into consciousness and awareness, and they are too. So then you get some who are more so than others who are saying, wait, hold up. I have an allegiance to my people now. Wait, hold up. I see where you've been treating me as a slave here, And I'm not liking that. Now I'm starting to see the forest for the trees. You know what? I don't want to be a part of this no more. And so that's what happened. So let's see what happens with the Nick Cannons and the Jesse Williams of the world. Yes, they could have a platform, but remember, that's not going to be easy to do. We had one. It was called BET, and unfortunately that was given up. And so
right, sold out.
Yes. So
yeah, for those who just joined, this is Yarima Karama. You're now live on the Chris Monroe Show, where we talk about the news, politics, current events, and so much more. Yarima, you brought up the integration. So we know that integration kind of killed Black America, you know, back when it was, you know, they messed it up. So do you feel like that separating is the answer? Because, you know, some people feel like we need to separate from this evil white man. He's so bad, and just get away from him. Do you stand on that position, or do you think there's a way to work within this system and actually have some kind of justice for African people here in America?
I mean, when you really look at the dynamics, we're basically still separated, the majority. When you look across the U.S. right now, we still live in basically segregated societies. New York's got Chinatown. New York has their Italian sections. New York has their Black sections and their Latino sections, where they have their Asian sections. California the same way. Now, yeah, I mean, there are exceptions to the rules. You got sprinkles here and there of groups that kind of, you know, mingle together, but for the most part we still are a segregated society. My thing is that you cannot, just real talk, there's no way we can continue to live like this without white supremacy pushing its agenda upon us. And so there's no way this will work without that a form of equality where white supremacy is totally decimated and cleared out. And that's not going to happen, because white supremacy says that their survival depends on our annihilation. And so when you talk about groups like the alt-right, who are nothing other than the neo-Nazis, the Aryan Brotherhood, the KKK, the skinheads, when you talk about that, that's the premise of their whole system. And they want their country back, which is why when Trump hit on code words, and he used code words, you know, make America great again, to them, that meant we're taking this back. It's going to be white man's land again. And so can we function as a Black nation under that type of oppression? We've seen that we can't. And I think that that's always going to be the thought at the back of everybody's mind. Do I want, if we're keeping it real, now some people are going to function here because that's all they know, but keeping it real, I know it's a thought in my mind, and we might not express it a lot, but the thought is, do I want to be subjected and ruled by white people? Because that's what has happened. And we get Black president, yeah, it was a great mirage, it looked great, but the reality of it is that this country was built and based on a white supremacist doctrine, and that has not changed.